Hey everyone, welcome to the 5th episode of Brandlove, where Kodak is today's brand, and we're gonna dive in, figure out their history, what we like about it, and what we might change to help them do a little bit better. With almost a decade and a half in the film industry, Kodak's George Eastman put the first camera in the hands of consumers. With the intention of making a complicated process much easier, George's goal was to make photography as easy as the pencil, and for generations to come, he did. Kodak was extremely successful in all things imaging from that point forward and would go on to create their own large-scale printing presses, video cameras, inkjet printers, X-ray machines, and even teamed with NASA to be the first official camera on board Apollo 11 and captured the first images on the moon. Considering their overwhelming successes, Kodak missed the ball and failed to get in on the digital photography train while it was an exploding part of the photography industry. Since that point, Kodak has had somewhat of a fall from grace, which may lean into the theme a little bit of this episode, retro rebranding. Now on to the next segment, the good and the bad. The good part of Kodak's brand is they lean very well into what the brand could be. The imagery in the website and on their original print material was spot on for the time it was around. Though color theory would argue that yellow and red are more relatable to the food industry, I'd say the addition of black was a nice balance to the Kodak brand. Now on to the bad. According to a Forbes article, there are a few corporate blunders as staggering as Kodak's missed opportunities in digital photography, a technology that it itself invented. This strategic failure was the direct cause of Kodak's decades-long decline as digital photography destroyed its film-based business model. And it's safe to say that the same bout of mediocrity applied in the middlemost iterations of the Kodak logo. This brand update is nice. Unfortunately, the average look of the wordmark style brand that was Kodak for half a decade was just too much to overcome, even while being ahead of the curve on the modern retro trend. Now on to what I would change about the Kodak brand. At this point, it's hard to make a major overhaul, but I think that's what you'd have to do in this situation. The retro brand was a nice way to attempt a harkening back to the good old days, but the current brand would need more than that to dig itself out of its downward trajectory it's currently on. A replacement of the logo or a complete overhaul of the color palette might be in order to revive the brand. Unfortunately for the Kodak brand, it's a little too late. Thanks for joining me on this Brandlove episode. Check out our social media down below. Also, don't forget to take a look at the downloadable resource up at the top. We'll catch you in the next one.